Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Sure that Claare Gael is Babaliam was Saltiger. This is Robert Cuttingars, or Robert the Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And this programme is called Claare Gael, and in it you'll hear something of the English language, as Angie Nias Clash and Ridrach Jane Gilg, and in it you'll hear something of the Manx Gaelic, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Mavanach dat Rish, I sat in recently for Daniel Quayle in Ceola's Cush, with Daniel being away playing music. One of the cushion included in the programme was an attempt at a translation into Manx of part of a poem by Cushag, which prompted me to look at some of her other poems. On sail quech na brerich and Grimm to gorig shan talier. Rare shelt an a tri mekege goily maach dadige de mai dag lei, node wel I corbanje douwes biergered. Fuddy en goor shaw lord, as tigins bregen yes. The bells of Aberdyfi, Clychau Aberdyfi, are the subject of this song by Welsh trio Brie, but they also include a well-known rhyme in English. Towers geestjach rish radio vanning stasiwn en asiwn, viskuller scalia maach by Dúlish, Ellen Vannin.
Ding dong bell dawa, Clich Abertawe.
Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clement.
Ding dong bell daylo, Clich and daylo.
You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin.
Ding dong bell Davy, Clich Abertavy.
When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey.
Ding dong bell, may the gloch be farw a bachgen coch, dewch gyntag a sloch.
When I am rich, say the bells of Shoreditch.
Ding dong bell arfon, Clych a Caernarfon.
And when will that be, say the bells of Stepney.
Ding dong bell Dyfri, Clych Llanham Ddyfri.
I do not know, says the great bell of Bow.
Ding dong bell Dewi, Clych a Dewi.
Ding dong bell, may the gloch be farw y bachgen coch. Dowch gyntag a
Claare Aberdyfi, the bells of Aberdyfi, incorporating oranges and lemons, as you heard, and that was by the Welsh trio Bri, comprising an Irene Jones, Jordan Price-Williams and Patrick Rhymes. And Margaret Letitia Josephine Kermode, 1852 to 1937, is best known as the poet Cushag, and Cultivanen's Manx Language Development Officer in Grenada, Ruth Gael, asked me about a translation of part of Cushag's poem about the Cushag flower. So first of all, I thought I'd look into the background of the Cushag, and in the newspapers for August 1843 there was a report of a dinner for the Isle of Man Agricultural Society, of which George Augustus Woods of Balladule was vice president. There was a toast made in his honour, and the report of his reply to the toast says, "The time was when large tracts of the land of our island lay in idleness, when our cattle, such as they were, grazed upon scanty fare, with their horns covered in the cushags and burren which overran our land. And these weeds still retained too large a possession of our land, but he trusted by the aid of improvements in agriculture to see them speedily expelled, and, in his opinion, the sooner the better, both for landlord and tenant." Trydan mac sinna corlesha gor gus a rulik, as tan gor gi a sai, je stolen glada an shen, eg geran leid an trydan mac braiach ji veli a ni bi de lure, ti ginste de veli cholen a vodi plugga fochen bielia. Ach, eg a tai rish, tan shan talier braiach jen gor, rawi a ni a sai, as tan gor ginste na rau fochen bi regedden eg. Tan talier corri rish a vac, as te gibert vai an tai leis búlichan jen clat taustun dartega. A leir gain tan navak cor leis a gorgus bol brouwens claie gera, as tan gor gi stolen glada fayan lei. Eg geran leit an mac braiach gi rau bi de lurek, as rish tan gor grei de veli cholen a vodi plugga fochen bielia. Ach rish sa tai, tan gor ginst den shan talier, na rau fochen bi regedden. As ga corrit an shan talier rish, de veli gino image in clat taustun dart, de im an na nabak eg a mag as a tai. Now, after Ian McLaughlin's 1958 tune Dr. Mackay's Farewell to Creagorry became popular as the theme tune for a BBC series called The Dark Island, two sets of English lyrics were written for it, but there's also a version en Gaelic in the Scottish Gaelic, and this is Mary Sandeman. about 1965, that was Scottish singer Mary Sandeman and Taillian Dorracha, the Dog Island. Eis Henk Shell the Trasvac, as Reneshen, ner an other how he fos and Jiru Shiger, the sledden, fedden cuse the ludden lesh na stolen share of possible, as deg a gor de iad. Sy'n jaster beg tre Henke de li jeli tai dorte, wel ma gor, velu ledden, as dregger a gor, cho ledden ta mish, chan vodum nish, fochen elje bia flugge, be. Eis tar de valje dorten den jeg, as renny corleshi gus a stallek, as renny kjani un shen. Nish esch dorten shan taljer, velle gor nie bi kuiji? Oh, dregger mac, ti cho ledden a voddy plugge weg elje. Ach, ren de taljer, na rau cor barrenter, na vid de grey, golgus a gor as dorte. Ma gor wien, velu ledden de fear? Dregger a bech muskedach, Creenach beiden len, gerau en shen, fochen bi de vlogge, be. Oh, na kerchinen, Julia Tallier. Well, George Augustus Woods returned to the Cushag in replying to another toast at the Isle of Man Agricultural Society the following year in August 1844, when the report tells us that he had last year reverted to the Manxman's golden crop in former days. He meant the Cushags, the golden Cushags, and he had that day witnessed some splendid gardens of golden Cushags. What a pity it was that his countrymen had such a liking towards the cultivation of these impoverishers of the soil, but so it was. They ought, each and every one of them, to put their shoulders to the work and endeavour to inform their less informed neighbours to put the gold into their pockets instead of allowing it to grow upon and be spread over the fields of this enemy to the soil. And how was this to be done? Every practical and well-informed farmer would tell them it was to be done by cutting down or rooting up this weed, by converting it into manure. the bombard of Yan Yuang Laridon and the Binu of Yoen Nedeleg, with a piece otherwise played as a march, actually called Argalav, the Appeal, and that's a tune from the northwest of Brittany. Stasiwn yn asiwn tyn ei sio radio fanim. Sio dat Claare na Gael, as mish Robert Gutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did the other hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
For the Clash and the Cledden Claare sio rish acht and Luggy Guller scalia, trúd inadega radio vaning as a craman eish rish. Trúd inadega radio vaning nis na trúd an reich eredad, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn na Alexa to podcast regedden nasty J. Claare na Gael nis. Again at a dinner for the Isle of Man Agricultural Society, but we've moved on 40 years to 1887 now, the Lieutenant Governor, Sir Joseph West Ridgway, is reported as saying that he thinks it's within the power of the farmers to do more in the way of cultivating, because he'd noticed some fields in the island apparently given over to the production of cushags. Well, in 1892, Sir Joseph is reported in the Mona's Herald as saying that he recollected that some years ago at one of these meetings he ventured to take exception to the large amount of the flower called Cushag, which are here, and was the national flower of the Isle of Man. He supposed that was why it was so constantly cultivated. Laughter. Well, this was subsequently taken up in the House of Keys and seems to have come to take on a life of its own, with Hall Caine writing in his The Little Man Island of 1894 that the late accomplished governor has called the Cushag the Manx national flower. It's certainly a most noble weed. Ta cach ho new fuse ho miriusach is na fyr elia de metallier, ga jinnam surrel yid na homagin an magietamum. Renne sairge bach, as sa chorriege renne leest de magier de klatthoustoon daart, as ren boele drieme wakken muggen, de renne raier tje maag as a taai. Maar so van shaan tallier fagits na nummerken lesje gaur. An laer gain, haie gus a stall, as renne liege maag a gaur as doorte. Tar, ma greitoor wien, Nim corliam su mi heen gus na shelly. Maar so renne li jeli a ted, as renne corleshi gus na kleien glade as na haberen, as for paltje vi son de gedden blastje, as doorte nish, de jinno kach lei for the creer beat at a heidne cor mien day, as renne vergeli on shen derre en jaster beg. Esh henke rish as doorte, wel, magor, wel o len. Dregger ish. Gelen ta mish, na wadum nish, fochener bielje a flugger bear. And this is a recording of Bernard Caine, RBV, accompanying himself on the autoharp as he sings Cushag Vegrai.
Cushag Vegrai, na monidu, na monidu, na monidu. Cushag Vegrai, na monidu, cer cadl raya Sydney. Shwire a bird address, a bird address, a bird address. Seven gay shades of egem machalesh, as och b'machad lahatoi.
And that was Cushag Vegrai, a short version of it, Little Red Bird, noted from the singing of Mrs. Collister of Balladule in Arbury and from Mr. H. Bridson of Cronkbun, amongst others, and it was sung there by Bernard Caine, who also played, well, the slightly creaky autoharp, in fact. Eish tar de valje door de tallier, as renneli jelig as a starleg, as renny kjarnli in shen. Rosh ma deg hinde rish as dorte. Nishesh de yino kachle tawas len. Ach de jaru de me gor, kre nach weiden len, gerouwen shen fochen by de vlugge be. Trechile talier shen, we yindes As higge chilirach, de raune 3 mekegge by courager soul, gin or. For a minute, dame, a creator now whistlos, Genelli de loor inrigen de iber de shroelu, nim cord dat zij son gol master talieren on er oil. Maar zo wat zijn goldig en reizeregge, as gauw Grimm a goor, as renny bere a kjonek, goree as basse lauw. As no de rauwe klatthuis stond dart, na wappen ro on er oil, gauw kip, as huggeji liete scotch, de renny les chwilien limmen as clisten, Ryer che. Hall Caine, in fact, goes on to rhapsodize. Throughout the month of July, it lies on the hilltops like yellow skullcaps. No minaret of any mosque in Constantinople is half so glorious on a Manx mountain with the sun dying off its crown of Cushags. But of course, he might well rhapsodize, but that's not where the Cushag grows at all, so he's carried away by enthusiasm, but by his botanical ignorance. Anyway, it looks as though it's the Lieutenant Governor Sir Joseph West Ridgway who helped to cement the notion of the Cushag as the Manx national flower. And so to Cushag, who wrote a poem which refers to a folkloric belief associated with the Cushag. The poem is called To the Cushag's Friend, of which this is the first verse. Oh, the Cushag flower is a fairy bower oh, the Cushag flower in a fairy bower would shine like a star of gold. But when it grows in the farmer's close, 'tis a shocking weed, we're told. Yet common things may have their wings to help our souls above, and wayside weeds, like kindly deeds, spring from a father's love. Now this is a big production number, as Mark Lloyd Ellery sings about Cornwall in the song Curnow.
Ortin Tacho, Cracalis into Esbelbuca, and you Kerno, Oslan Hamor Kerno, Owens was one that portray the Kerno. Alice Ball with Nag, you Kevis, in Darrow, Dosbury and Pole, Dre up with a tavern. Castan Carlo, Claare and Nozo, Blue Creature Eagle, Alena in Barrisyow, then Garrigal in Coswell Murphy's Dad, Dithbury in Trey Hellis, Bejetho Perlo and Trace Stevie Bad, Kerno, Oslan Hamor Kerno, Owens was one at Portray the Gurno. Tia Blas Prisjau Basis. Well, Corian, Franco, Moser, Pan and Tono, Atlantic, Hot Chocolate, Uray, or Skis, Hem, you Kerno, Allslan, Hamor, Kerno, Bowens, was one a portrait, Gurno, well, it's a street, Phoenicia, Crip, Porthia. So Castan Gallo, Claare on Nozo, Kerno, Roseblan Hamor, Kerno, I once was one a portrait, Kerno, Roseblan Hamor, Kerno, I once was one a portrait, Kerno, Roseblan Hamor, Kerno.
And that was the song Kernow, which is the name for Cornwall in the Cornish language. And that was sung by Mark Lloyd Ellery. The song was written in English by Ken Mackerel. I'm not sure, is that a real name or is that a stage name? Maybe even Mark Lloyd Ellery himself. The other thing I wondered about Ellery, of course, Brenda Wootton, the famous Cornish singer, she was an Ellery before marrying. So I wondered whether he was perhaps from that family. But anyway, Mark Lloyd Ellery it was who was singing Kernow, and he was being joined by a cast of thousands, I would say there, but amongst others by Camborne Town Band. And as I say, that was Ken Mackerel's song originally in English, Cornwall, but that was a Cornish language version which is made of it by Paul Hodges, and as we heard, Mark Lloyd Ellery singing Kernow. Well, Ruth Keggin Gael was looking for a translation of this second verse, which I'll start with now, but then there's a third and fourth verse afterwards. But these are the original verses. We've heard verse 1, these are 2, 3 and 4 now. The Cushag flower had fairy power in olden times, you know, to bear you away on a summer's day wherever you wished to go. Its golden wings were slender things to carry souls aloft, but fairy tales, like freshening gales, may have their uses oft. The Cushag flower in a stormy hour shines brighter for the gloom, so kindly deeds, like wayside weeds, may shine when troubles loom. Old folks would say in their own day, when troubles took their fill, and times were bad and hearts were sad, there's gold on the Cushag still. Now, the Cushag, we know, must never grow where the farmer's work is done, but along the rills, in the heart of the hills, the Cushag may shine like the sun, where the golden flowers have fairy powers to gladden our hearts with grace, and in Banninvegveen, in the valleys green, the Cushags have still a place. Van taliad gennacht en fi trimshach houds veen haine lummerken se taiege, as wij ge ledden arltach naltigen en mekkege rish, a gerau fissig peger bij a volva dangol. Ren a makshinne treve nieuwe na ibermach as a tai, gulma prindes geser tai, as hugge je heen de hagendacht en gerjegge. As tre henken tre a hand de roilt, hugge wansje de boerd beg, daarom manne de jen as jint as foi kajen. Ach vertrouw fi woerer liege. Tre renpeger bi corchise, as doort hij, woord bi kudit. Tjelirach va enrich boord glen a boord my beg, as Claare, as skin, as al, as gisten, lesh ridden roostich as briet on thou, as glonne moer de fin jurg lanrige, als achte gerdige kree. Van prindes eggs munnion drowie jint sonne kledden bijegge, as hye macht de bogoil se tail, as begumma leis rau taios mine a sion, na rau vegrich eden ege de ion shen. Well, we have a goat in our story, but there we had the cow that ate the blanket and voa gee and fludge. And then we had an unseasonal flowers of spring, blana and airy. And we finished off with the old choice and Shan Raya. And father and daughter from County Cavan played those for us. That was Anton McGowan on fiddle, Kathleen Rowan on concertina, and they were joined by Brian McGrath on piano. Seo dat stasiwn yn asiwn radio fanning sé Claare na Gael wisgol sgeliamach mer yn pin Robert Gooding Carswell, Robert de Carslach.
Have you heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Treffer agres scumma of all way on, rawi ons na maren, na na keiljan, na ons lini. Hugga sheesa boerregge, as dúirt é, Búrd, bí cúdait, a shen mar bhé, as for de choiliúrid corid de mían bí a chrí. Bheith henk a naid de jinnach gul bacchus an aige, as for die leorish an tre seo vech an corri ege leagache, as for die kunte woord jindesach de jinnach altige rish de manre. Hager vaster beg de rauw, gauws we gulle journee ege de valje, de denke taio's wel len de loer de goldi, ren altige as vrije jay de haishies meru, as de Gael be, nonne de bech doliet de loer ege getten weg. Ga jinnum, dorten zei taeg, ga nodum smunien a goirle soel weg wou, bear de moordju wei na goldi Eish rennet gere, as wat smunien de rawe jill spotch. Ach renne korlesje boerd foi begegge, as huggeja ons mene jemer. Now this is a piece from Cushag. It's called The Wren's Housekeeping. Low rolls November's sun along the hill. Dim grow the skies, and early falls the dark. No music now from blackbird, thrush, or lark. Only the robin pipes his ditties still, while to the swallow's nest above the sill new tenants come to find a welcoming ark, where, undisturbed by steps or Loki's bark, they find a refuge in the storm-swept gill. Like brown moths flitting in the dimsy light, each evening brings them to our window view, and every morning as the dawn grows white, they fly their careful business to pursue, and thus, secure from frost or rain or fright, the gentle wrens keep house the winter through. And another one about birds now, this time the blackbird and the plover, and in fact it's a translation into English of a rhyme in Manx. Londu, Londu, whither are you flying? The wind blows coldly through the mountains bare. In the currach now sunny gleams are lying, and a homely nest is waiting for me there. Poor Usha Grist, piping late and early, while round her still the mountain torrents roar. But away and free singing in the barley, the faithless Londu left her evermore. A Welsh band Callan perform a song called Can, but it's spelled K-A-N rather than with a C, which is usual in Welsh. It also includes at one point the tune of a Welsh folk song which is called Dau Llygad Di, Two Dark Eyes. So this is Can by Callan.
Can, cenedl can byr, can dawd y dir, can iaith gollog ei ffydd. Can grawd y can, cenedl can byr, can dawd y dir, can iaith gollog ei ffydd. Can grawd y can, cenedl can byr, can dawd y dir, can iaith gollog ei ffydd. Can grawd y byr.
Tali ysyn ac yn neud yn tal yn teilwng, rhyfel yn yr awyr iaith yn nefoedd oedd y cyfrwng, cywydd heb gywilydd, canu heb y gan, chwedlau tywysogion Cymru'n cynnau tan, beth yw'r ots gen y byd, nid yw geiriau yn hiraethu, traddodiadau gwlad mae'r Cymru'n hyd a leiddi, gair a mae'r llyfr hergys papur ffyn, sneb yn becso dam ynglyn â phapur da i ddim. Gwlad y gan dyna dwedyn nhw yn Gymru, cawsomiaeth yw chedw er chi sy'n medru beddi, gwyddo ma fe'i hanes, gwyddo ma fe'i boen, teimlo'n yn ein esgyn ac yn trwyddo trwy ein croen. Gentle into our yates good night. In 62 we chose to stop
earthly charms. From her alpine peaks to her salad-packed streams, and her golden coast with its prosperous farms. Her people I have blessed with lava bed and cockles, coral and roar, and great mineral wealth. They'll be wizards of rugby, singers and bards, and they'll speak the language of heaven itself.
Callan, the Welsh band who visited Cruinnach a few years ago with their modern twist on Welsh music, and that was a song called Can. And now this is a vignette, I suppose you'd call it, and it's called Mountain and Moon. Right on the mountain top she poised and stood. A moment all her rounded splendour showed, then leaped in air and took her heavenly road, casting her veil o'er valley, hill and wood, while old Barul remained in a pensive mood. Still on she went to some carefree abode, and never slacked her silver steps or slowed, leaving him that one kiss whereon to brood. But with unruffled calm, his quiet might watched his own glen, nor heeded her a jot, till in an ecstasy of sport and spite she fled into the nearest cloud, to blot with darkness all his world. He heeded not, knowing she couldn't long keep out of sight. Esh dorte boord be Coodich. Chilirach vi Coodich lesh be fodder a shen and fair oser we able de chor, as henk a sor my jeg a stroinen de goldi ons 8 feet atjesach. Gaugin en sai me gurgin vai door de sertai. As tre honneke den 8 maar wij, gerau fe mer nach weer a chor be. Ach renne truggle nie skin de zaal, as gauw a taiach de dunnel eri. As never gien de wij een rid smoe in de zag, tre henk just de wij vollem, chilirach voor just ledden de jade ons in het jay. Olju en tre van fair oos de jade ons corneel, as wij gien olju takert. Rauw vogelen egge de grij weg me gaan egge, ach smonnie, jenach lied de gogere shen, kor a tai oos en bishache. Renne sertais en shejach egge freurish ons 8 vivanere der aanmach senie. Verjere haie de lai. As treven tre hai a sertai egg as a liabi, dege a boord wishel egge na jadu nyen vola. Now, in Dwelly's Dictionary of Scottish Gaelic, mira can mean play, sportiveness, merriment, giddiness, and bearing that in mind, this is the band Manran, with a tune called Mira.
Wie de shababach en de bieden de shiki de van, wie de skahanamach, wie de shiki de van, wie de shababach en de bieden de shiki de van, wie de skahanamach. On and around the hooky diggy feeding cow gets down to meet the shababach. On and around the hooky diggy feeding cow gets down to meet the shababach. Wie de shiki de van, wie de shababach en de bieden de shiki de van, wie de skahanamach, wie de shiki de van, wie de shababach en de bieden de shiki de van, wie de skahanamach. On and around the hooky diggy feeding cow gets down to meet the shababach. On and around the hooky diggy feeding cow gets down to meet the shababach. Wie de shiki de van, wie de Shabalach and the meter dish in the van, meter dish Kahanama, meter dish in the van, meter dish Shabalach and the meter dish in the van, meter dish Kahanama. On and around the hook in the giddy beating cow, like a sound, send me the dish Shabalach. On and around the hook in the giddy beating cow, like a sound, send me the dish Shabalach. Sound of a feet of father had another figure by the sound of a feet of father meet the dish of Balachan. Sound of a feet of father had another figure by the dish of Kitty Bad, baby meet the dish of Balachan. Drawn the Habini, ski, Shabini, Shabon, the Habini, shoes, and the Gala with the drawn the Habini, ski, Shabini, Shabon, the Habini, shoes, and the Gala with the cheese, the chair, the cheese, and the Gala with the chair, and the Gala with the Malani cheese, the chair, the cheese, and the Gala with the chair, and the Gala with the Malana sound, and the Kimi, Jarek, Scala, the free sound, and the Kimi, listen, and the Gala with it, and the Kimi, Jarek, Scala, the free sound, and the Kimi, listen, and the Gala with the cheese, the chair, and the Gala with the cheese, the chair, and the Gala with the Malani cheese, the chair, and the Gala with the cheese, the chair, and the Gala with the Malana.
Scottish band Manran with some Pershtibiel there called Mira. A gedod of Feros Cadla, as Smunnion er a boord, as we Cunnion egge, de Rouse Chamber Woonlach egge, Shan boord, Fiege Solerish, maar so haie de Chorleshe, as Gouwe Soel boord en ser tai, as Degge en Fair Elions in a jay. And here's a very short poem by Cushag. Evai noch, Baban Bach, safe in Mammy's arms you rest. Willish beg, Baban beg, coo my birdie in your nest. Baban beg, Willish beg, shut your eyes, my pretty love. Liano mean, Ushag ween. Coo yourself to sleep, my dove. So we've heard some pieces of poetry from the pen of Cushag, Margaret, Letitia, Josephine Kermode. Now you can enjoy the best of chill-out music for your Sunday evening here on Manx Radio for the next 2 hours from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, Judith Leigh will be here presenting Sundown. Claare Gael closes with music from Brittany with a band that first got together in a Diwan, Breton language senior school near Brest, and they're called Startijan, with a piece called Donves Tar, which means explosives. Ach, Sinead Cartnish, and so until the next time, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert de Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve, I'm a Chriort, says Duts, Magiri and Share.